4.3, graphing proportional relationships. Okay. Is everybody doing their warm-ups?
No.
Alright, so listen up, 8th grade. So for proportional relationships, we are comparing two quantities, and a line going in a coordinate plane is just showing that these two quantities are proportional. You can represent them by the equation y equals mx. Okay, you've seen that before. It's the equation of a slope. The only thing missing is our y-intercept. You see that? Our y-intercept here, since it doesn't have one, is at 0, 0.
The computer that was up front, it disconnected. So
nobody heard any of that.
Nope.
Alright, let's look at example 1. Does everybody see it?
Yes.
Okay. Alright, so the cost y, representing the dollars, for X ounces of frozen yogurt is represented by y equals 0.5x. We're going to graph the equation and interpret the slope. Whenever you hear the words interpret, it's asking you, what is the slope talking about? Okay, so first you need, no, we're not making a table. Stop. Don't do this. This takes forever. We're not going to do this. Bye.
Okay.
Alright, we're going to use method 2. Here we go. You do need a graph, so go to the back of the room and get a graph and cut it out.
There's no more.
Oh, no.
You get a graph.
Okay, just sketch it then. You guys can sketch it in your journals. Y'all are just as good as sketchers as me. Alright, so look at this equation. What is our y-intercept?
1.5.
1. Oh, 0.5. Wait.
Half.
Yeah.
Slow down. Remember,
0.
the y-intercept is where it has at the very end of it plus or minus a number. Do we have a plus or minus a number at the end of this?
0.
It's 0. Good job, Aaron.
Woo! That's what I said.
So we're going to be going, our first point is through the origin, right there at 0, 0. Okay, now, which of these is our slope? It's the 0.5. Okay? Okay, what would I put that over to make it a rise over run? This is over an imaginary 1, yes. So we're going to go up a half. See how you have a half here? And then over a 1. See where my second point got drawn? Up a half, over a 1. Okay? And then I could keep making points. Up another half, over 1. Up another half, over 1. Till you're tired of drawing points. Because my slope is at 1/2. Now, if you wanted to make this a fraction, this would be 5/10, which would reduce to 1/2, right? When you do that, if you're graphing it, you think about the boxes. So I go up 1 box over 2 boxes, up 1 box over 2 boxes. So you see how the slope is the same either way? Good. Any questions on how we graphed that? No? I can hear you if you guys yell at me.
No!
Thank you. Alright. So, the last question they asked you was to interpret the slope. Okay, if you look here on the graph, I go up by 50 cents, because this is in dollars, and I go over by 1 yogurt, 1 ounce. So to interpret it, you can interpret the fact that it costs 50 cents per ounce on the yogurt. So that's all you have to say, that the yogurt is 50 cents per ounce. Okay? So that's what it means when it says to interpret. Make sure you're doing that on your work. Okay? Any questions on that?
No.
Alright, go ahead and do your try-its. Try it number 1.
Okay.
Teacher,
Teacher.
Yeah.
my big math idea is not working at all.
Okay, so you have 2 options. You can wait and do math a little later when it is working, or you can go get your textbook and do it out of the textbook on a piece of paper. You may choose.
I'll wait.
Okay, you may choose. Joaquin, what you could think about doing is getting just a scratch piece of paper and sitting with another 7th grader and working through the problems with them and writing your work on a piece of paper.
Okay.
And then you could either just turn that piece of paper in for your assignment, or you could hang on to it and go put all the answers into your website when it is working.
Okay.
Your choice. Alright, for this example, alright, the weight y of an object on Titan, one of Saturn's moons, is proportional to the weight x of the object on Earth. An object that weighs 105 pounds on Earth would weigh 15 pounds on Titan. Ooh, we'd all be super light, probably floating around. So we're going to write an equation that represents this situation. So they've given you 2 points, essentially. They've told you that on Earth you're 105, and then on Titan you would be 15. Okay, so we're going to use that information and plug this in. The pounds, you see how up here it says y is the weight on Titan, whereas x is the object on Earth? So you see the pounds on Earth is 105, so that's our x. And the 15 pounds on Titan would be the y because of what they told you at the beginning of the sentence. You see that, right?
Yes.
Good. So we're going to plug that in where the 105 is x and the 15 is y. And we're going to use that information to find the slope. Okay? So you have your original equation to find, and we need to plug in our y and our x. So you put the y, the 15 where the y goes. Make sure you're putting this exactly in your journal, just like this. And you put the 105 where the x goes. Okay? Now, do we have a variable all by itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's got a number next to it, doesn't it? So it's not by itself. So if we move this 105 away from m, would we have solved for m?
Yes.
Yes. So what kind of math is this right here, right now?
Multiplication.
Multiplication.
It's currently multiplication. We are going to do division to move it. So divide 105 away from both sides. What is 15? Over 105, you just reduce that fraction. And you'll see that it gives you 1/7. Okay? That is how you solve for slope when you have 2 points. When you have an x and y. Okay, so our equation, we would rewrite, we would put the 1/7 where the m is, and then just leave the y and the x. You see, here's our new equation. Y equals 1/7 x. Okay, so now you just learned how to solve for the slope. Another way to solve for slope. Remember how we were solving for slope earlier? We were doing y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1?
Yes.
Okay, this is another way you can solve for slope if you have a point. And you do have to know that it goes through the origin, which in this case it does. So, now that we have an equation, let's look at B. How much would a chunk of ice that weighs 3.5 pounds on Titan weigh on Earth? Okay, well, which of these stands for the weight on Titan? The y or the x?
Y.
So we're going to plug in the 3.5 where the y is. Now again, can we solve for x? Everybody say yes, we can solve for x.
Yes.
Alright, so we have 1/7 x. How do I move that 1/7? Division. So you're going to divide 1/7. So you have 3.5 divided by 1/7. When it's a fraction, you actually flip it and multiply. Very good. So what is 3.5 times 7?
24.5.
I knew that.
Excelente. 24.5.
4.5.
Okay, now this is a word problem, so what do I label it?
Estimation equal to value.
Pounds. We're talking about the weight. So this this chunk of ice weighs 24.5 pounds on Earth.
Go us.
Make sense?
Definitely.
All right, go ahead and do your next. Try it number 2.
It hurts.
All right, you're doing exactly the same thing we just did for you. Try it. Get your journals. Last example, example 3.
Okay.
Is everybody there? You need a minute.
We're good.
Great.
All right. So the distance, y in meters, that a 4-person ski lift travels in X seconds. Hey, this is Kerwin. Is represented by the equation y equals 2.5x. The graph shows the distance that a 2-person ski lift travels. Which ski lift is faster? Okay, so the graph is for a 2-person lift, and they've given us the equation for a 4-person lift. They want to know which ski lift is faster. Can anybody have a wild guess on what can we compare to see if they're faster?
Cheetah.
No, I'm talking about the 2 different ski lifts. On the equations, what's the thing out of the equations that we can compare? Anybody have a wild guess? No?
Well, I get the stuff for Y and X.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do, but we're going to compare the slope. Because remember, the slope is our rate of change. It's how fast something is changing. So if the slope is smaller, then it's changing faster. So we're going to identify the slope for each graph and then look at it. So our 4-person lift is y equals 2.5x. They gave it to you in the paragraph. What is the slope? What is the slope here, guys?
2.5.
Yes, 2.5. Okay, so the 4-person lift is traveling at 2.5 meters per second. So now we need to solve for the 2-person lift, which is all we have over here is 2 points, right? So do we have an equation we can use to solve for slope?
Definitely.
Yes.
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, or we could look at the graph and count it. Okay? Change in y over change in x. So if I start in the leftmost point and I go for my y, how many did I go up?
8.
And then how many did I go over?
4.
So 8 over 4. Can I reduce that?
2.
2. So my slope for the 2-person lift is 2 meters per second. So which lift is faster, the 4-person or the 2-person?
The 2-person.
Which one is going farther per second?
No, the
4-person.
4-person.
So the 4-person lift is actually faster because it went a little bit further every second than the 2-person does. So make sure whenever you get ready to answer the question, you always kind of reread it one more time so you can decide which one is faster. Does everybody have this part?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Don't you dare. Right there.
we have a part B.
Oh, we do?
Yep, it says to graph the equation that represents the four-person lift in the same plane. Okay, you guys can just sketch it in your journal. Okay, so again, we start at 0, 0. And then our slope was 2, so we went up 2 over 1. Oh, no, this is four-person, I'm sorry. So we're going up 2.5. So the graph makes it very noticeable. You see how it's a much steeper line?
Mm-hmm.
That's showing you that it's a lot faster. Okay, because we went up 2.5 over 1. That's why the dot's here. Okay, any questions on this?
No.
No, ma'am.
All right. So then you have 2 more problems on the self-assessed 8th grade, and then you're done. That's not terrible.
Woo, woo.
Home run.
And one.
All right. Any questions? Any math questions for me?
R.
Let's do
That's
4.
Okay, thank you.
I'm so close.
It was a hard question. I'm glad I handled it.
Yes, ma'am.
He said.
I thought it was 5 for a second.
No.
So,
Curious, like, and then it died.
Oh. Oh, looks neat.
All right. Is everybody?
Done. Good.
I was gonna say Joaquin's dancing in the middle of the room.
I need time for help.
That's that guy off Fortnite.
nice. No.
Okay. Miss Teresa.
Yes.
So they're done with math. You can take them outside for a extra recess if you want. After recess and you put up the tables, then they can do English, which I left the worksheet there on your desk. It is a continuation of what we've been doing, so they shouldn't need extra lecture. Aaron, that's just disturbing.
Okay, so it's this one.
Yeah, it should say Monday on it.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you can go ahead and give them Tuesdays for tomorrow, near the end of the day.
What?
Okay.
Then the other thing that they can work on during English is their Wordly Wise from this morning. I will go ahead and post the vocab on vocab.com that you can do with them. If you want to do a vocab jam with them, I'm sure Elena or Josh can help you hook that up on the TV.
Okay.
And that would be English. So I'll be available here if you need me, but there's no lecturing for English today, so y'all can do it without me. So
Okay.
then we really just need to reconnect at 10 minutes to 1 for Bible at 12:40. 12:50. At 12:50.
Okay. We'll do that.
So
Thank you.
Elliot, you hear me? I need you back on at 12:50.
Okay.
All right. I will see you guys then. Behave for Miss Teresa.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Bye.
These disturbing faces in the screen.
That's Samuel. That's nice.
What?
Everybody's in awe because of the 12:50.
12:50. Yeah, I gave him an extra 5 minutes for recess.
There you go. So you got 5 minutes for recess. Okay,
Why is
thank you.
everybody's face so close to the camera?
Because they want to be weird.
Hey guys, are y'all done?
Yeah, you could let them finish their math for a little bit if they're not done.
Please.
Huh?
Finish your math. 8th grade, finish your math. You had 2 more problems. You could have it done and have no homework.
Sis,
Yes.
I have a question.
I have an answer.
For the 2 self-assessment questions.
Yes.
I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
I'm confused. Very confused.
Okay.
I'm gonna go back to my seat, so.
Okay. Let me present.
I'll give you.
I'm here.
Okay, 8th grade. Here is number 7. The amount y of water that flows over a natural waterfall in x seconds is represented by this equation. Y equals 500x. Okay? So this is water flowing over a natural waterfall. The graph shows an artificial waterfall. Okay? So which waterfall has greater flow? Meaning greater means how much more water. So we want a bigger number for our y value, or for our slope. Okay? So the real waterfall is 500. We need to figure out what is our slope for the artificial waterfall. Okay? The easiest way to do that, since this is kind of big numbers, is to use our equation. Let me go share my whiteboard. Okay, can you see the whiteboard?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you have 2 points on this graph, right? We have 1, 3,000. And then our other point is at 5, what?
15,000.
15,000. So we can use our equation y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 to solve for the slope. Do you remember this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so which one of these do you want to put first? I say we put the bigger number first. So make this y2 and this is x2. So I'm going to say 15,000 minus what?
33,000.
Minus 3,000.
12,000.
Okay, all of that over 5 minus 1. So 15,000 minus 3,000 was what?
12,000.
12,000.
Over what's 5 minus 1?
4.
Okay, what is 12,000 divided by 4?
3,000.
Okay, so my slope is 3,000.
8,000.
So you would write that like this in the equation. Y equals 3,000 x. Okay, and then our real one, this is for the artificial, and what was the slope of the real one?
500
Y equals
X.
500x.
500. So which one has more water coming over every second?
Artificial.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the waterfall has greater flow. Artificial. Justify your answer. You could just put in that equation. Y equals 3,000x. Or you could say the artificial waterfall has 3,000 liters of water per second. That would be fine as well. Any other questions?
No, man. Wait, yes. Wait, no, never mind.
What?
What?
What did you say?
All right.
Wait.
So make sure you finish this before you go to recess. You only have one more problem left. Wouldn't be very long. Okay? It is due tomorrow.